Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
Positive by choice. And I believe that when we choose to look at the bright side of life, when we choose to look at our blessings and focus more on them, not that we don't acknowledge the hard times and the difficulties and the upsets and the unexpected oopsies and stuff, not that we don't acknowledge them and work through them, but it's easier for us to work through them when we're looking at having a solution-based premise in our belief system and in our attitude.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
Hello. Today I'll be speaking with Jason Antalek, also known as the Akashaman. He is a spiritual teacher, international speaker, internet TV show host, and Akashic Record Reader based in Littleton, Colorado. His passion is connecting people with their superpowers and how to apply these skills and overcome and excel past any obstacles. This should be fun. Here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today, a very special guest on, Mr. Jason Antalek. Jason, how are you today?
I am excellent. Thanks for having me on, Fox. It's good to get to talk to you again. Yay.
Yes, and he's referring to, I guess, our conversation on Jason's show, The Spiritual Handyman. I joked around, and I mess up all the time, and people know that listen to me with my speech. But Jason, in our interview last month, did not mess up a single word, and I am jealous.
I'm not sure I would agree with that 100%, but I absolutely appreciate the compliment and the observation. I'm sure you do just fine, man. It's probably better when you mess things up a little bit. It's more fun that way.
I have a lot of fun. We create laughter out of that, but I mean, to this casual observer, you were squeaky clean.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I have a vote of confidence.
You've got it. Let's get into all about you. Tell us first, as the Akashaman, as you were introduced as, what are Akashic Records?
The short answer to that, Fox, is that the Akashic Record is the journey of your soul from the very beginning. The Akashic Record holds everything that your soul has ever done, experienced, thought, lived through, interacted with. That's everything from this life to all previous lives, all the stuff in between, and possible futures. And that is stored in an etheric database that is the energy of the universe is holding that information. And the beauty of the Akashic Records for each individual is that you have access to your own personal information because it is the journey of your soul. That's
pretty deep. I'm gonna might have to replay that. But seriously, and again, well said. Does Teal Swan have any significance in your life? That name?
I do know who she is, and she, while we don't know each other, I have absolutely watched a number of her videos, and she's got some great information, not just about the Akashic Records, but about lots of different things. She's got an interesting approach to things, and in a lot of ways, her and I do the same thing in helping people connect with the information and open up the channels for themselves.
Has she indirectly helped you in your journey and your practice?
There have been times when tools that she presented have assisted me in amplifying what I do, for sure. I search through all kinds of different avenues and different practitioners and different Akashic Record Readers through their practices, through their videos, through their books, and I'm always looking for tools that will help people access their records in a way that I'm not familiar with. because everyone's journey is unique to them, and it's all about finding your own way into the Akashic Records and connecting with them yourself. So even if my way and your way are the same, our experience of it is unique to us. So it's about offering tools, and Teal Swan and many other Akashic Record readers and authors offer up those kind of things freely, which is greatly beneficial to anyone on that sort of search. So I absolutely scour and look for new ways to do things. If we're not finding new ways, then we're not reaching as many people as possible, right? So the more we can get opportunity into people's hands, the better.
No question about it. No question about it. It's just finding a different way to get to your destination. Jason, how long have you been pursuing this passion of yours of connecting people with their powers?
Well, that started with me looking for healing, and it's been about 3 years now that I've been on this path specifically. The metaphysical interests that I've had have been lifelong. I started out pretty early on recognizing that there was reincarnation and being very attracted to the possibility of having skills from previous lifetimes available to us in this lifetime. You know, if you could go back and draw out all the stuff you learned, I could be a blacksmith, and I could be a prophet and a spiritual teacher, and be all those things by Friday. So that always that always interested me. And then when I was in a position that healing was really important, and I was looking to Eastern medicine and outside of the norms that I put in quotes, of course, that I discovered the Akashic Records. And what I found was, when I was reading my Akashic Records or someone else's, that I was in a state of healing. And that was really the first thing that latched me on to recognizing that it was a very powerful place. It wasn't just about information. It was also about many other possibilities. The Akashic Records is kind of the gateway to so many other things. Just like it is in any other spiritual practice. If you start with crystals, you end up with talking about energy and chakras, and you get into the Akashic Records and you start talking about past lives and skills from other timelines and that kind of thing. So it's like you said previously, it's really about another way to do the same thing.
I love it, though, because wouldn't you agree? We try to work on lots of things about ourselves to make ourselves live a more fruitful life, just to be better in all shapes, forms, and fashions. But how little we focus on our minds, and that's what I like about your practice and what you're doing. Question: in your practice, what is the biggest obstacle you see in people coming to you for guidance?
The first obstacle is usually themselves and the programming that they've accepted as the way things are, the status quo. What's interesting is that when they've gotten to me, they've started looking for answers outside of the box. They've started asking questions that can't be answered in the encyclopedia or from their friends and family. They've started to look beyond what they have access to, and that's super powerful. And the best next step that I find is the most beneficial for people is to connect them with their superpowers. And what I mean by that is there's certain skill sets that we already have that are part of our energetic makeup at a soul level that are influential in all of our lifetimes. And when we reconnect with the abilities that have been bestowed upon us since the beginning, that allows us to leverage those talents to make our lives easier. Because the programming, in my opinion, is what makes things so hard here on this planet, and to try and make it in society. A lot of times we're encouraged to put down the things we already know to learn the things that we're not good at, and to study those until we're good at them. And while that has great benefits, to me, if you are studying that through the powers that you already have, the things that you're good at, that allows you to amplify everything that you do, not just in one area or one specific course of study. It allows you to grow in all areas all at the same time, which to me, connecting people with their superpowers and getting them an opportunity and a fresh perspective that's outside of the programming, those are the first blocks that I tackle.
Gotcha. I mean, you covered a lot there. Just a fresh perspective. I love that point that you're making there. I want to go back to something you said previously. And Jason, you can share as much or as little or pass on this. You mentioned that you got into this spirituality realm because you needed healing. Would you share healing from what?
Well, the short answer to that is a concussion from a motor vehicle accident. So I was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome, and that was that was quite a road. There's a couple of different versions of a concussion, and one of those is you go back in the third quarter, and the other one is you go back in next year. And mine was not the third quarter variety. So while Western medicine had helped me considerably, looking for other alternatives, I found acupuncture and Reiki that were both very powerful things, but they didn't stick. Right? I was looking for deeper healing that was more intense and more of a lasting effect. Not that there was anything limiting by Reiki or acupuncture, but it's repeated visits that really, that continue the growth in those areas. So I was looking for something that I could do myself, because sticking needles in my own body was not something I was going to do. So when I discovered the Akashic Record, I found out that when I was actually in the records reading for other people, that I didn't have headaches or confusion or mood swings. I was very focused. My cognitive abilities were very present. I didn't have questions about who I was or what I was doing. All of those things were eradicated for that time. And then being in a place where I was freed from those symptoms that are inherent in post-concussion syndrome, and honestly quite rampant if you've ever experienced it for yourself or known anyone. It's a difficult road, no matter how minor or how major it is. It's a different sort of healing. But being free of those things, even for just a little while, allowed things in my life around me outside of reading in the Akashic Records to begin to settle down. And that's when the real healing started for me. And at a spiritual level, it began to open up my views and my perspective to other possibilities. And it led me to helping other people find the same relief in their lives at whatever level is most appropriate. So the healing part for me is, man, that's probably the biggest gift from the Akashic Records and spending time there. But what it's led to help other people heal and to find themselves and to find their own answers has been the real gift as a result of it.
I tell you what, it speaks to what you're doing today. Really speaks to how much you thought that experience helped you. Amazing. I mean, and you mentioned before you weren't sure if I had been through that a couple of times. One, and I'll tell two really quick stories. One was 10 years old, and I'm a guy that to this day, at age 40, I can't ride a bike, Jason, and I don't have great balance. And my memories on a bicycle are not good, because the last time I was on a bicycle, just with training wheels at about age 10, right into a tree at a public park, 8 stitches and a concussion. And then, as a sophomore in high school, in a baseball game, I was the pitcher, the losing pitcher, pitched the entire game, Jason. I went 7 full innings, but I gave up 12 runs, 15 hits, and made the final out of the game. A ground ball to third base. The throw was up the first base line, and the first baseman's knee ran right into my forehead. And so I have experienced, not to the level, of course, you were in an automobile accident, but I'm familiar with the feelings that come with concussion and with someone who has been concussed. So, awesome. Episode 37 here on the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Jason Antalek. We're going to get to know him a little bit more through a game called What, Which, and Where. Jason, are you familiar with this game?
You've mentioned it, but I can't say that I'm 100% aware. So help me out a little bit. Give me a head start, would you?
I like the fact that you're unsure, because it puts me on the offensive. It'll be fun. No, what I'll do is give you a quote or a line from a book or a movie, and you tell me where or from whom it came from. Make sense?
I can do that.
No.
Yep.
Okay, so here we go. The first quote in What, Which, and Where for Jason is, it goes like this: when you walk up to opportunity's door, don't knock it, kick that bitch in, smile, and introduce yourself.
Oh, that's got to be Dwayne Johnson or something.
It absolutely is.
I can see him saying it, but I can't actually place it. But he's that's one of my heroes. That's my man crush for sure. I'm not gonna even try and hide that for a minute. But that quote to me is about real power and what it looks like when you face adversity. Sometimes you do have the guts to just go ahead and push through it. Other times you don't, but it's powerful to know that you can just kick the door open and blaze through it. When you make that decision, it has a lot of positive repercussions. So, tell me where is that? That's a movie quote, right? I want to say it's in a movie.
I want to say it is too, but Jason, when you wrote to me that you had that man crush on Dwayne Johnson, I just simply went to Google quotes, please, and found that. Jason, what's the? I mean, if you're a Dwayne Johnson fan, my brother Billy is a huge fan himself, and episode number 1 guest Stuart Lake has as big a man crush on Dwayne Johnson as you do. But what's that show that he had on TNT or TBS where he took someone who was just on the ground, and hit rock bottom, and he brought him back up? Oh, I'm drawing a doggone blank. And
well, first, let me say, Fox, that Stuart and Billy, that he's mine. Stay away. Second, I would say maybe you're talking about The Hero. Was it a reality show?
It's a reality show. It's not called The Hero. Oh man, I was last night before I retired to bed, I was going to watch an episode, and I forget what it is, but he only did 1 season, but it's awesome. He took people that had hit rock bottom because of just a poor diet or drugs or alcohol or a bad family situation, and he mixes his grit in with his humor, and it's awesome. I forget what it is, but I'll remember it 2 seconds after this interview ends. That'll be awesome.
Or tomorrow in the shower.
And say, doggone it. But
that was it.
Yep, that's definitely going to happen. Jason, 1 for 1. Let's go to the second quote in What, Which, and Where. It goes like this. Today, I'll act like the divine being that I am.
Monty Python? Kidding.
No, yeah. That's awesome. First Monty Python reference.
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure where that one comes from, but it's a powerful affirmation. If we all started our day like that, with saying that in the mirror to ourselves, I think our days would be consistently more and more powerful, especially as you layer that on and continue to look for that. That's the beauty of us on this planet, is that while we are an incarnation of divine in a human form, we don't have to be perfect while we're here. So we kind of get a playing card, right? It's like we have unlimited tokens at the arcade, and as long as we somewhat behave, we get to make a lot of mistakes and still be productive and still strive for that divinity every day. So I feel like that's a super powerful affirmation.
That's why I chose to put it in. Just picking up unlimited tokens at the arcade. Jason, favorite arcade game is?
Oh man, I was a player. I was a coin player. Centipede, Asteroid, Dig Dug. Those are probably my favorite video games, but I was a pinball guy. I always loved pinball.
Pinball wizard.
Yes, but I could see and hear.
The old Who reference.
Yeah, but he was way better than me. Tommy was very good.
Yeah. No, I'd have no chance. When you think about me, arcade, I like to get nasty on the air hockey table. I wasn't any good, but I just like the game.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on air hockey. I used to rule the air hockey table back in my roller skating days, and beat up on the grown-ups and get free sodas and popcorn out of it.
Heck yeah. Oh man. Those were the days. And people say, talk about suicides like in practice, suicide runs in practice. To me, a suicide is you're at the arcade, Jason, and you have all the fountain sodas lined up and you have a little bit of each soda. To me, to this day, that is a suicide.
Agreed, but no diet.
No diet. No.
It can kill you if you put diet in it, but otherwise it's just a suicide. You're correct. I love it.
It's just a suicide.
I think you and I might actually have been at some of the same skating rinks, my friend.
May have been. I didn't touch that skating rink floor, but I'd go for the suicides and maybe the mozzarella cheese sticks and some air hockey.
There you go.
That's about it. Jason, that was Andrea Hess. That's the quote coming from her.
Andrea Hess is the creator of soul realignment, which is the modality that I originally studied when I got into the Akashic Records, and have since taken every single one of her courses that has come out. She's an amazing teacher, and she shares a depth of knowledge and understanding of the Akashic Records with people in a way that allows you to take it as far as you want to take it, and she's very encouraging in that way. So I would say, folks, soulrealignment.com is a great place to head out to learn some more about the Akashic Records and what Andrea Hess does.
Gotcha. That's a good plug, and you've really, you've taken her teachings, in my estimation, very far.
But she offers a lot, and I've chosen to apply those things, and it is because of her that I am where I'm at. It's because of her teachings and applying those things in my life and modeling the things that she has presented in my own way that's brought me to where I am. And I will always be eternally grateful and appreciative of where I started, and getting onto her website was my first step in that direction.
Yeah, and obviously through her, via her, spreading her message. So outstanding. We'll go 1 for 2 so far, and the last quote, Jason, in What, Which, and Where goes like this: "You must forgive yourself, for not knowing any better than you did at the time."
Oh, I said that.
You did? just about 5 minutes ago, right?
Yeah, you're doing. The way I say that is you do the best with what you've got to work with, and you made the best decisions with what was available to you. So it's not always about judgment. I find in the Akashic Records that it's really about information, and when we take it in as information, it takes the sting out of it, and it allows us to gain that perspective. It's kind of like when you're 15 and you do something stupid. When you're 20, you still think it's stupid, but when you're 30, you go, "Oh, I was just a kid," right? So there's a difference in perspective over time, and I want to say that quote is I'm gonna guess at Paul Selig as channeled text from Paul Selig.
And you are absolutely correct.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. His books have been a force in my life in the last few months. His channeled text beginning with Word I Am Word, and moving on from there and building upon that. The information found in those books is it's hard to put words to it. Talk about bringing things to another level, no matter what modality or what place of study or what layer you may be in your journey, whether spiritual or not. Those books are extremely beneficial. Even just listening to them is very powerful. You can't help but pick up really amazing energy and amazing things from them. So I know if I was to thank Paul Selig, the way that would actually come out is Paul would say that it was the guides and it wasn't him. So on behalf of the guides and Paul, I would say thanks for sharing that quote with everybody.
No question. Just being humble. Humility comes to mind there with Paul. Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding.
Agreed.
So let's go back to these three people, Jason: Dwayne Johnson, Andrea Hess, Paul Selig. Give me the first words that come to mind when I say Dwayne Johnson.
Strength.
Strength. Andrea Hess.
Ability.
And Paul Selig.
Impression.
Concise, powerful. Jason, you have you host a spiritual handyman show that I was fortunate enough to be on last month. Just tell us how that got started and what you hope to accomplish on that show.
Oh, you hit the chord on that one, didn't you? That's my biggest passion right now is the Spiritual Handyman internet TV show. It's a way to give back to a community that really helped me heal beyond what it is for me and allowing me to be in service to others. It's really basic in the idea of getting spiritual tools into the hands of people that really need them. That's the simplest definition of it, and I have lots of different guests from all different levels of expertise and from different modalities and philosophies, and each of them shares a little of their story, and they share definitions or meditations or some kind of philosophy of theirs, some sort of tool that will help people in their daily lives. It's a very practical approach to the spiritual, metaphysical stuff that can be very complex or very heady. And we do it in a fun way that keeps things light. And it's about people walking away with a little more than they showed up with, really, and getting to connect with some people and learn about other people in a way that keeps it all very real and all very grounded.
And how can people find that? Where is it on iTunes or?
Well, you can go to thespiritualhandyman.com and that is a place that will lead you to YouTube, and that YouTube search, if you prefer to go directly there, is just The Spiritual Handyman. We're also on Facebook. There's a Facebook group that feel free to join. There's also Instagram, and it's on LinkedIn as well, under my personal profile, Jason Antalek. But if you search The Spiritual Handyman in any of those places, it's going to pop right up for you. Look for the big red toolbox with a tree in it, and you'll be in the right place.
Perfect. I will put the URL for that in the episode notes, so it'll lead people there. Okay, so we'll lead them down that path. Jason, we know all heroes don't wear a cape, but if you had the opportunity to take a 1-hour car ride with one of these 3 people, who would it be? And of course, your 3 choices are Dwayne Johnson, Andrea Hess, or Paul Selig, and tell us why.
Oh, can we use a bus?
Can we?
Can we use a bus or a van that can have all 3? I don't know if I can pick just one of those. Each one of them has so much there to offer. It's funny you say that, because I've been thinking just in the last couple of days what it would be like to have an hour of Andrea Hess's time. So I would have to say currently that's probably where I would choose. I know I'm on the precipice of very big things, and I've come so far as a result of her teachings that I feel like it's time to open up the next layer and really move into the next space. So I believe her mentorship and her guidance would be of the most direct effect for me, and allow me to directly assist as many other people as possible. So I feel like overall that would probably have the biggest impact for me. That would be the choice today.
Can reach out exponentially. That's a great answer. I will hang out with Dwayne Johnson and Paul Selig, no problem.
Okay, well, lucky you. Get an autograph or 3 for me, would you?
No problem. No problem. I thought with the bus, Jason, I thought maybe if you're going to have a bus, maybe you could invite me on the bus, but I guess I just didn't get the invite.
Oh, I'm sorry. I assumed you were driving the car. I mean, this is your show, right? You're in the hot seat. Well, I'm in the hot seat. You're in the driver's seat. So I apologize. In my view, you were already in the car, which is why we needed a bus, because we had a driver and 3 people and me. So, an SUV, I don't want to sit in the all the way back. I'm a small guy, I get it, but I'd like to sit in a real, human-sized seat. And Dwayne Johnson's going to need a pretty big one anyway.
Yeah.
So in my vision, that's how it looked. And let me tell you, on the bus, in that cool cap, the sky cap, you look really sharp in my vision. So
nice.
Recognize that you were absolutely there.
Nice. I never really thought of it that way. But yeah, you don't really, if you're taking a 1-hour car ride, you'd rather have your full attention on that person and vice versa. So none of you would be driving. So maybe I need to change that question for the next episode.
Well, I don't want to complicate things, but as the show host, I would think that it would be really beneficial for you to be along for the ride, to just listen, right? Yes.
Noted. Assuming that I'm going to be in the car with you both, I think I need to start it like that. Cool. Jason, this has been informative, stimulating, and just a very, very good time. Last question. Who would you like to hear on an upcoming podcast here?
Oh, I wasn't really prepared for that one. I have another mentor in my life that has an amazing amount of things to offer, and she has a healing space in Littleton, Colorado, and that's where I actually have my full-time space as well. The space is called Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, and the manifestor, creator, and owner is named Violet Rain. And I would say that she would be a phenomenal guest for a number of different reasons. She's the kind of person that reaches people in so many different ways, just through her voice and her energy and her passion and her knowledge. She's an invaluable human on this planet. So Violet Rain, that would be my answer.
Got it. Check. We'll see if we can get her on an upcoming podcast. So a lot of information here. Jason, we really appreciate your time, your space, and your energy here on the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a blast, Fox. I love the questions. That just makes things so interactive and so much fun. That your conversation is, it's the way I like to do things, and it just fit really great for me. So thanks for making it so comfortable on my side of things.
You're welcome. That's what I try to do. You know, I'm a school teacher. I've been in school all my life, and I try to just do my homework.
There you go. Well, you do that, my friend. Well done.
Thank you, and thank you as well. This will wrap up episode 37 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Jason and I will talk at you all later. Take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer. Because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.
Boss just gave me the boot. I'm beat up and overused. I know you're tattooed too, but I keep getting stronger from being with you. You're my wheels in the mud, the belt that keeps me up, my shade in the sun, my anchor when I wanna run. Baby, together we just can't lose. I'm falling more in love with you, 'cause storms make trees take deeper roots. You're my line when I can't reach it, my jig when I can't bring it, my net when I can't trap it, my hook when I can't hook it, my more when I've had enough. When I crack, you make me tough, my bring it on when I feel done, my 3, 2, only 1. Baby, together we just can't lose. I'm falling more in love with you, 'cause storms make trees take deeper roots. Sharpen my song. I've got you, and I've got it all. Baby, together we just can't lose. I'm falling more in love with you, 'cause storms make trees take deeper roots. 'Cause storms make trees take deeper